get started. It's 8:45. Well, thank you guys for being on tonight. And tonight's really an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the heart behind our nutrition program. Oftentimes we hear any part of nutrition, we get excited because we all want to learn more. We want to learn more about what we need to put into our mouth. But you know what? Oftentimes we don't need more nutrition information. Oftentimes what we need more heart information. And so tonight you're going to get to learn a little bit of why I developed the program the way that I did, and you're going to get to learn about how that looks in your own life. And so if you're just joining us, if you'll make sure and push mute on your phone or on your computer, that would be great. I'm trying to get you guys muted as you come in. So tonight we're going to learn basically the simplicity of what nutrition can be if we will take the time to handle our nutrition with our emotions. And so if you'll watch the screen, I'm going to be showing you a couple of things. You probably know this, but 80% of our actual body shape and style is related to our nutrition, and only 20% exercise. So that's pretty interesting to know, because if you're in boot camp right now or even regular P31 fitness classes, you are burning a lot of calories, you are working hard, you are maybe getting up at dark 30, and it can be difficult. And you know what? What is so interesting about that is that we usually are going to classes for results. But guess what, guys? The class isn't where we're going to see those results. We're going to see the results based upon what's going in our mouth. And so if we can start to get a concept in our head of 80% is a really big number, it has to do with our nutrition. And so I think we think that that is pretty important. So I like to post this because I think it's pretty funny. It's just, can you relate to this? We're start out the morning good. We're having our Greek yogurt, and then we're going to have a salad for lunch. We're doing great. And then you know what? You come home and you eat the entire kitchen. And if you were unmuted, I imagine you'd be laughing right now, because we probably can all relate to that. It's so true. We have the best intentions and we start the day off well and we're doing awesome. And then we are starving when we get home, or something happened at work and we're stressed, and so we eat, or we can't find the healthy foods that we want, and so we just eat whatever it is that we can. Well, that's real life. And if you know me, you know that I am very real, and I'm going to tell it like it is. And I am very real in all of this nutrition stuff, because we can say all day to just eat chicken and broccoli, but guess what? There's going to be times when that's not available, and there's going to be times when we just don't want it. So if we're going to be real tonight, then let's be real. So let's take this seriously for a minute. Food is fuel and it's not therapy. If you could raise your hand right now, I would probably guess that most of you would raise your hands and learn, and you would probably be able to answer that at one time or another you have used food for some sort of therapy. Basically what I'm meaning there is that maybe you emotionally are stressed or emotionally struggling with something, or maybe it's just out of happiness. And we have all used food in some form or fashion as some sort of therapy. Well, the reason that that's important to note is that if we don't ever address that issue, then we can have every food list in the world, we can have every diet in the world, and none of them will work if we don't address the emotional connection with food. So if you're taking notes, you need to write that down, because that emotional connection with food is huge, guys. And I'm not even talking some, serious condition maybe that you're facing. I'm just talking the emotional connection we all face. It could even be out of happiness. But you know what? It's real. If you have ever eaten to maybe kind of hide or stuff your feelings, that would be an emotional connection. Or if you have ever eaten because you're bored, that would be an emotional connection. And so I want you to really start to think about what that looks. Well, I will say this, is that food's not going to fix our problems. Okay. Food will not fix our problems. And I'm sure you're aware of that. You've probably tried, but it won't. And we have to realize that we're worth more than trying to fix our issues with food. Now, let me also say this. I've been in a place where I have tried to fix my problems with a diet. And you might think, well, what in the world? What do you mean? Well, guess what? We can try to put out this diet and do everything perfectly and try to kind of fix whatever's going on in our life by saying, man, I accomplished that diet. Yay for me. Well, you know what? Maybe we should get a little bit deeper into the real issues. So let's look at this. Many of you on this call may not know me, and maybe I haven't gotten to speak with you before, but I'm very open with my struggles. This was a reason I developed this program, is that I struggled myself. Trying to put on an outward face, but yet inwardly really struggling and eating anything I could find, but then exercising like a crazy person so that no one could tell. right? So in a sense, it was a very interesting eating disorder that I dealt with. It was never clinically diagnosed, but I would definitely say I had disordered eating. Many women have that and don't even realize it. And so when I finally understood that it was more of an emotional issue, that's when I started seeing freedom. And I realized, God didn't want us to be in bondage, not to food, not to exercise, not to body image, and not to diets. So let's think about this. Tonight's call is not about getting, what's she going to tell me that I get to eat tomorrow? No, tonight is about let's be real and let's think about what our connection actually is. But we need to kind of stop for a minute and we need to maybe clear our minds of what we've been taught in the past, and that's scary. But we need to think about, have we been a slave to maybe food rules or diets or programs, or we have to only eat this, this, and that? Well, hear loud and clear that I believe healthy food is good for us. I believe it's important to put good food in our bodies, but I also believe we have to be careful with our focus, because that's why I developed Listen and Lose, because it's real. There's going to be times when you want a cookie and it's okay. I'll say that again. It is okay to have that cookie. The problem comes is when we think we can't have it and we eat it and eat it and eat some more when no one's looking. Okay, this is a program that kind of starts from the inside out. And so these are a few tips that I've developed over time. And these tips are pretty much a core of what you're going to find in our Listen and Lose. So we've obviously got to check those emotions. Why am I eating at this moment? Am I eating because I'm really hungry, or am I eating because I'm bored? Or am I eating because I got an email that upset me? Or you name it, okay? We need to slow down. If you're like me, sometimes we just are scarfing our food and we don't even realize that we were probably full 10 bites ago, but we're eating so fast that we don't ever stop to realize that our body is saying stop. And thirdly, this is important, and this could be a little bit scary for some of us, but to allow ourselves a small treat every day. So if you've ever tried to go on a diet, you may have found that, man, that gets hard sometimes. You go to a birthday party and, oh no, what are you going to do? Or you go out to a place where they don't have what's on your list. Oh no, what are you going to do? You have to allow yourself some grace in this. And so every single day, if M&Ms are your favorite thing, buy those small packets of M&Ms and have that every single day. Because guess what, guys? 100 calories is not going to sabotage you. It's not. What will sabotage you is saying, I can't have it, I can't have it, I can't have it, I can't have it. And then what do? You go eat 3 bags of the big ones. Okay? It is such a mental, emotional connection that if having that small treat every day allows you to be free from realizing, what, these aren't that good anyways, or, what, I look forward to that every day, then that's good, okay? Fourth, this is important. Do not try to go on some crazy diet, okay? Now, I believe that a diet is the way we eat. So our diets need to be healthy. All right, in general, that's just a general term. But if you say you're going to go on a diet, typically we're setting ourselves up for some hard times. All right, I'm not going to say for failure, but some hard times. Oftentimes what we find is that when we get a list in front of us of what we can and can't eat, we get kind of excited. Like, I'm going to go on this new plan and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to weigh every day and I'm going to only eat my little list. And guess what? A few days into it, we get tired. And we have a little bit of something we shouldn't have on our list. We have a little bit something more. And you know what? We say, forget it. I'm done. Well, what's hard about that is it becomes this roller coaster ride in our life. And we cannot continue to do that. That is worse for our bodies than just staying where we were. Okay, so let's try not to set ourselves up for this big event. Instead, let's try to make small changes. All right, number 5, you may laugh at this, but we're not going to hide anything we're eating. Okay, so if you are on a diet and you've told the world you're on a diet, and then all of a sudden you want a cookie, are you going to eat that cookie in front of people you told you were on a diet? No way. So guess what that leads to? That leads to this hiding of eating that now is creating this emotional connection of, uh-oh, I shouldn't be doing this. Uh-oh, I'm bad for eating this. Guess what, ladies? You're not bad or good based on what you eat. You are not bad or good based on what you eat. You are worth more than that. Okay. Number 6, we got to ask ourselves some tough questions. So if you're about to eat that 3rd, 4th, 5th piece of pizza, ask yourself, you know what? Wait a minute. How am I going to feel after this? How am I going to feel in the morning? And if that answer is, I'm going to feel awful and I'm going to feel guilty and I'm going to feel yucky, then stop. Okay. Don't do the whole, I'm going to eat everything I can and I'll start over tomorrow. And you're probably laughing again. We cannot continue to do that cycle because the tomorrow never comes. All right. Or if it does, it lasts for a day and then we do the same thing again. So let's start asking those tough questions. And finally, we're going to have some grace on ourselves. Now that's important because if you do eat that cookie or 2 cookies or 3 cookies, you have to let it go. And you have to have some grace on yourself to realize that that's okay. You did it. It's over. And the more you beat yourself up, the worse it's going to be. And so guys, tonight, if you learn nothing else on this call, I want you to kind of burn these tips into your mind. Feel free to take a picture of it, take notes, do what you need to do, but these tips are really key. And again, I know from my own experience, and I'm going to tell you, the other side of freedom is awesome, okay? Tonight, I had a calzone and carrot cake for dinner, okay? I'm telling you that on our nutrition call. Why am I telling you that? I'm telling you that because I don't feel guilty, all right? Do I eat that every night? No. But do I feel okay? Do I feel free? Absolutely. And I want everyone to experience that too. Okay. We do have a Listen and Lose YouTube video that explains it a little bit more. So you can go on YouTube and search Listen and Lose P31 Fitness and you'll find that there. Okay. So let's take a look at this picture. We are going to learn a little bit tonight about kind of our body shape and about some nutritional effects. So when you look at this picture, I think you'd probably be surprised to note that guess what? Each of these ladies weighs the same. Okay, that is important to know because all of us are different. And ladies, I teach you to get off that scale. Throughout our program since we started this, we have to stay off the scale because the scale is simply telling us a number. It's not telling us our worth. Okay, we are worth more. We are beautiful no matter what that number says. And so if you still have a scale in your bathroom, I'm going to challenge you tonight to throw it away. I've been a slave to the scale in the past. I know what that's like. I would get on that scale every morning, make sure that I had the exact same stuff on. I would make sure that I wrote down my numbers. And if that number didn't read what it should be, I was depressed the rest of the day. I had a bad day the rest of the day. And you know what? Man, that is bondage. And if we can call it what it is, I think it will help us as well. Is there a time and a place for a scale? Sure, absolutely. If you are someone that needs to kind of make sure you're staying on track, then you know what? You do your thing. But I'm telling you from my experience, I had to stop. I had to stop because it was consuming me. And what I realized, ladies, is the more I thought about it, the more I thought about what I couldn't eat, what I weighed. Who was I only thinking of? Myself. You know, all that time spent on diets and this and weighing, I was wasting time when I could have been helping somebody else, serving someone else. And that's when it really hit me of like, you know what? I'm done with all this. I've had enough. And so I hope that that kind of challenges you tonight as well. So, you know, basically what we need to think about is, okay, great. What really, where's she going with this? Well, we have to know that there is a big difference between those scale versus measurements. And so if we do want to kind of know where we're at, measure yourself. That's going to tell you a lot more than a scale. All right. I also want you to start to read some of the blog posts. I try to post maybe once a month, if maybe twice a month, just depends on how crazy my life is that month. But those articles are things that I think you'll be able to relate to. The latest one was about fences, and we just moved out to the country, and our dogs who were crazy inside of our fence at our old house now have 18 acres to run around on. And guess what? They're not crazy. They don't try to escape because they have that freedom. That's probably similar to us with diets. You give me a diet, oh my goodness, I'm going to go crazy. But if you give me some freedom, I'll probably do better. Okay, so ask those questions. How are you feeling? How's it going? How's your muscle structure? All that good stuff. So now let's learn a little bit about the macronutrients, which may be why you got on tonight. You might have thought, man, this call is going to be tell me what I need to eat. Well, a little portion will be about that, but most of it was already covered about the emotional connection. So let's talk just a tad about what we believe in P31 Fitness, and it's pretty basic. I try to keep things as simple as possible, but there's a lot of information out there, and if you were to Google anything tonight, you would find 5 million different ways to eat. And so let's keep this as simple as possible. Let's know this, that carbohydrates, we have to have them. So if you have ever been on a no carb or low carb diet, you're going to realize and remember that you had no energy. Okay, that's because carbohydrates give us our energy. And so the thing is, we've got to eat those. We want to keep it with the complex as much as possible. Okay, so your whole grains, those whole grain type of things that your whole grain breads, whole wheat breads, making sure we're checking our labels for those things, making sure we're not seeing the words enriched or refined, any of those, okay? But we need carbohydrates to function. So it just scares me so much when I hear people saying, well, I'm cutting out all carbs. Okay, no, you can cut out the bad ones, all right? But we got to remember that we got to have carbohydrates for our energy function, okay? The second macronutrient is our protein. Now, protein has gotten a big hype in the fitness world that it doesn't need to have. but it is important, okay? We have to have protein because it increases that lean body mass, and it also helps to reduce some of the fat tissues, so that's good, all right? It helps in our recovery, so that's why we tell you in class you want to have protein at least 30 minutes to an hour after your workout, okay? That doesn't mean you need to have 50 grams of protein. Write this down. Your body can only digest 20 to 25 grams of protein at a time. All right, that's a really important fact. So don't try to cram all this protein in at one sitting. It's not going to be able to be digested, and it's going to be stored as, you guessed it, fat. Anything in excess is stored as fat, okay? I also want to look at having as much plant-based protein as possible, okay? So when you're looking at shakes, you want to go for the soy protein over the whey protein, okay? Soy is our plant-based. There's a lot of hype about soy nowadays. If you get the right kind, it's all good, okay? So I will share with you the protein that we teach in P31 Fitness, and that's our Juice Plus protein shakes, okay? It's real ingredients. I've tried every shake out there, believe me, okay? I've done them all, and they were all gross. This was the first one I've tried that actually tastes good, and I've had it since they've been out. I've been taking Juice Plus for over 10 years, and as soon as I came out with shakes, I had them, and I love them, and I try to have 1 or 2 a day, all right? It's a good, wholesome, nutritional shake, so think about that if you're not currently doing it, okay? Let's also talk about fats. Now, the fats are sometimes a scary word, but they don't need to be. In fact, the fats are important because our body actually needs fat to function, okay? But it's got to be the good fats, and that's where we usually get into problems, all right? Fats are one of those things that are in most every food we eat, but good fats are not. And so the good fats are going to be your olive oils, looking at your avocado. Yes, you can have guacamole. The problem is when we eat the whole basket or 2 baskets of chips with our guacamole, okay? So again, as we talked about before, the moderation factor in all things. We're going to talk about Mexican food this week, actually, in your nutrition demos. And so just remember that all things in moderation, but those bad fats are what we want to stay away from. Okay. But you know what? If you feel like you're doing everything right and you're just not losing that weight you want to lose, sometimes it's because you're not having those good fats. So I would encourage you to try to get some good fats in your day, various ways, not only through the oils, olive oils, but also just kind of looking at some of the foods you currently eat and just see what it is that's inside of those foods already. Okay, maybe making some good healthy substitutions. So when we're looking at food labels, this is really, really important, okay? A couple of things that I picked out just on carbohydrates because of the hype. You know, when you look at a loaf of bread, all right, you have to look at those ingredients because just because it says whole wheat on the ingredients on the front, that doesn't mean that's the real ingredients on the back. They do lots of hard marketing on us. And so whole grain has to be basically that first few words, okay? Whole grain, whole wheat, any of that. But if you see enriched, it actually means it's kind of been messed with a little bit. So a portion of that wheat's actually been taken out. And so they had to put something else back in. Well, that something else comes in the form of some sort of man-made stuff. Okay, so we want to be thinking about the importance of having those whole grains. And then we also want to check that sugar content, okay? When you're looking at sugar contents of breads, you want to try to look at between, under 8 grams or so. 8 to 10 grams is usually going to be a pretty good number for you there. Okay, so when we're talking about the importance of the healthy stuff we put in, the reason is, guys, is we want to increase our metabolism. I mean, I've never met a lady, I've been in the fitness industry since I was out of college. I've never met someone that was good with their metabolism, that said, you know what, I just love the way my metabolism works. No, every woman, every man wants to make sure they have a healthy metabolism. And so we need to do that by eating often. Okay, so remember in our listen and lose, we're going to listen to that hunger and fullness cue. And if we will do that, naturally our body's going to call for food every 3 to 4 hours. Now, if we stuff ourselves to where we have to unbutton our pants because we're so uncomfortable, then guess what? We're not going to be hungry again in 3 to 4 hours. So we have got to remember that we have to eat when we're hungry and stop when we're full. Okay, we have to start our day strong with breakfast. That can be difficult sometimes. Getting those shakes in right after workout are a perfect way. Okay, throughout the day, we want to eat those carbs, proteins, and fats that we talked about. Okay, and try not to diet. Okay, that word needs to be you need to stay away. Okay, now, yes, have a healthy diet, but the moment you put the word diet in front of you, you are setting yourself up for some hard times. Okay, we need to exercise, drink that water, get our sleep in, which if you're in a P31 early class, that can be difficult. And then this is important, ladies. don't restrict below 1,200 calories ever. So if you are one that counts calories, be careful, okay? Be careful. Your muscle tissues will start to eat themselves. I'll just put it that way, all right? If you go below 1,200 calories, you are asking for it, okay? Your body's going to stop functioning and your metabolism will slow down, okay? Speaking of counting calories, there are so many devices out there nowadays and programs and things you can do. And you know, just like diets, we need to be careful with our calorie counting because that can also consume us. I used to do it. Man, I would track everything. And guess what? If I went a little over, I would try to borrow from the next day, you know, my rollover points there. And guess what? It never, ever would really give me that freedom that I was looking for. So I stopped all that. I stopped the tracking. I stopped the devices. For me, that's what I had to do to realize that I needed to look for freedom in another way. Okay. So again, if that's something you do, no criticism, but that's just my experience. So let's talk about each meal. This is an important picture for you to kind of keep in mind here. When you look at your plate, we want half of it to be vegetables and fruits, okay? Greens, we want to have a half of your plate being those good good whole foods, okay? A fourth of it only protein and a fourth of it that complex carb. Now, often, and you go out to eat, you probably see it different. Your plate at a steak place, for instance, would be half of the plate of a big old steak or maybe the full plate, okay? We're getting way too much protein in our diets, all right? We don't need that much. We need more fruits and vegetables, okay? We do have a Listen and Lose workbook where we've got lots of meal options. So if you don't have that workbook, try to grab that. Here's some ideas of kind of some combos of some foods. So we want to kind of put a carbohydrate, a protein, and a fat together. So you don't ever just want to have an apple for a snack. What? Yes, that's true. Okay, if you just have an apple for a snack, you're going to be hungry in probably 30 minutes. Okay, you got to combine it with some other stuff so that it actually digests well in your system. So here are some great options. I love this picture because it really shows you some good combos that you can have. Okay, I will say too, the more you can prep, the more you can have stuff ready to grab, the better off you're going to be. For me, when I don't have stuff that I can grab, I end up grabbing something I probably, it's not the best healthy choice for me. Okay, we're nearing the end here. As I was just kind of leading into, we want to make sure we're prepared. Okay, when you get home, you want to have all that stuff cut up because if you're like me, if I don't have it all cut up, it ends up going bad because I never opened it. I was too busy then to cut it later. So try to take a good hour after the grocery store, cut everything up. Ziplocs need to be your friend. Okay, get everything in Ziplocs or in Tupperware. Have it ready so that you can grab and go. Okay. I also will say that the better you can see it and the better that it's prepared, the more likely you're going to grab it. I also will tell you that if you can plan those meals, it's going to help you tremendously. You've heard it everywhere. You know that, but we're busy. And so it's all a matter of where we're going to place our priorities. If we can take, like I said, an hour each week to just kind of get ourselves prepared, we're going to feel much better. Okay. Now, again, if that means that, dinner wasn't ready, you went through a fast food place, do you need to beat yourself up? No. Guys, we teach grace. We teach that the real life is going to happen. Can you make a good choice at the fast food place? You can make a healthier choice than what? Just getting the big old, forget it. Let's have a large fry, a large drink, and the biggest hamburger you got. I teach women to try to pick one of those things that they really want. And then they won't feel quite as yucky at the end. Okay? When we're starting to kind of get towards the end here, I wanted to share with you this interesting illustration about sugar. Look at that, guys. The average American is consuming 3 pounds of sugar a week. Oh my goodness, a week. That's 50 pounds of sugar in a lifetime. And what I want you to think about, though, is that translates into 500 calories per day, okay? That could be a pound a week. So if you are actually eating a lot of sugar and you're wondering why you're not losing weight or gaining weight, that is what's going on. If you're wondering how much sugar you're eating, take a Ziploc and throughout the day, I want you to scoop in the amount of sugar on the back of each label of whatever it is you're eating, and you'll be amazed at what's happening. This is what I really wanted to show you, though, is that sugar is addictive. Okay, this is a picture here that will shock you. 2 different pictures, cocaine brain, sugar brain. Guess what, ladies? It does the same thing to our brain as cocaine. Is sugar illegal? No. But is it a drug? I believe that it's becoming that in our society. Sugar is becoming addictive. The marketing world knows it. The food industry knows it. Sugar is in almost everything. And so the more we have of it, the more we want. That's scary. Okay? Sugar leads to some inflammation going on in our bodies. Okay? Inflammation is what causes disease. So if you are somebody that has dealt with any of these things here, it's most likely because of inflammation in your body. some of which was controlled by diet, some of which was not, okay? But fruits and vegetables are what are going to fight that inflammation, and we need to know that. So if 75% of disease is preventable, shouldn't we? Shouldn't we eat correctly so that we can help to prevent some of this disease? Absolutely. I don't want to become one of these statistics. I don't. And so I want to do all I can to help to prevent that. You know, people have always said, man, if only fruits and vegetables were in a capsule. Well, guess what, guys? They are. Juice Plus is what we teach in our program with our Listen and Lose because it's food. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here to give you a quick fix because there aren't any. But I am here to tell you that for over 14 years, I've taken Juice Plus, and it's something that goes into my body every day, and it's food, fruits and vegetables, and that's what it is. Because I know I do not eat enough fruits and vegetables each day. And the best part is 2 of my kids get it free, okay? Ages 4 and above get Juice Plus for free with an adult. If we can start at these young ages getting good stuff in kids' bodies, then we're doing well. I want to share with you a few of our nutritional resources that we have in P31. Okay, so we've got our Listen and Lose workbook. We've got these great food trackers, cookbooks, lots of blog articles that are going to help you with that emotional piece I shared with you. We do nutritional consults. That's basically, actually, you're getting kind of a preview of what that looks like, but we work with you one-on-one to help develop what's going to work for you. Juice Plus is the system that we teach, and we won't find us ever teaching anything else. Okay, so just know that. And then we have a great Facebook group on nutrition for that. Okay, so we might ask, well, great, what's that going to look like? Well, here's my life. It looks normal, okay? I try to get as many whole foods as possible. I try to get my shakes in 1 to 2 times a day, and I try to have small meals often. But you know what? The fact of the matter is yes, that also looks like having a cookie. That also looks like going to the pizza place for dinner like we did tonight and having carrot cake afterwards. Okay, I'm going to keep it real. I will tell you that's what it looks like. But you know what? I've got lots of grace on myself, and you need to have grace on yourself too. We've got to have moderation, all things, okay? All things. We've got to listen to that body and remember that it's about freedom. The more we're consumed with our diets and our calories and our food lists, the more we're going to struggle. So just kind of keep that in mind tonight. There's a couple of blog posts, one I wrote just last week about the fence that I shared with you, so I really want you to kind of take some time to read that. It's on our news tab or blog tab on our website. And as we close down tonight, I want you to think about this, that there's no diet that will do what healthy eating does. So, you know, we really need to think about that. Stop trying the newest, greatest diet, because why would they keep creating them if they worked? They're doing it for marketing, aren't they? They're doing it because they know, as Americans, we are looking for the next thing that's going to fix us. Remember, we can't look something outside of ourselves to fix us. We have to look inside, and we have to realize, why are we the way that we are? Why did we want to eat that cookie? Why did we keep eating those cookies? And we have to realize that it's probably not the food's fault. It's not the cookie's fault. It's probably our own emotional issue that we need to deal with. Okay, I'm teaching it real. So think about this, that our philosophy is very simple in P31. Okay, we're real. We teach the Listen and Lose system, and we teach Juice Plus because your cells need nutrition. That's it. Okay, I don't have some crazy thing I need you to start going on. I want you to remember those 2 simple things. Because, guys, we got to think about this, that we have to be educated. We have to remember our body's a temple, that what we eat really does matter. You know, we're real, and we are going to follow that Listen and Lose program. And so I just want you to personally know tonight that if there's anything that I can do to help, or anything that you need or questions you have, feel free to please email me at any time. I love helping women, and there's lots of women who email me and text me and message me of their own issues and things that are going on. And that's what I feel like is important for me to be able to hopefully share some of my experience with them as well. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to stop this share, so your face might pop up. Sorry if you weren't expecting it. You can push the stop video on the bottom left if you don't want it. And I'm just going to open this up for questions. So hopefully I did this right. Okay, so does anybody have any questions or anything that they need to ask? I'm going to unmute you if you do. I don't know if this may go bad. I don't know if it could be loud. Hold tight. All right. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions? Hey, Megan.
Hi.
Anybody with any questions?
Uh-oh. What happened?
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody real quick. If you did have a question and maybe you just couldn't get it out or whatever was going on, feel free to email me. I'm going to try to make this recording available and just kind of, you can pass this along to anyone who couldn't. But I hope that tonight's message was something that was refreshing to you and maybe shared some freedom in your life. And I just want you guys to know that you are worth more than any scale you can ever step on. You're worth more than any size you can be. God loves you as you are, and you need to remember that always. So you guys have a great night. Thanks for joining me tonight, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.